lights, they flicker there. A million hearts beat quicker there. No skies of gray on the great wide way, 'cause that's the Broadway melody.
Hey guys, thanks for clicking in. I'm Jason Crawford Samusui.
And I'm Patrick J. Golden.
And this is Backstage Banter. So for this episode of Backstage Banter, we're going to be talking about The Roommate, which is playing at Everyman Theater. And The Roommate is by Jen Silverman and directed by Johanna Gruenhutz, with set design by Timothy R. Maccabee, lighting design by Jesse Belski, sound design by Stowe Nelson, and costume design by Sara Cubbage. So we actually have a little treat here in Baltimore because this is The Roommate's East Coast debut, hot off the heels of the Humana Festival premiere over on the West Coast, I believe. So what I got out of The Roommate was that it's a story much like a modern-day Odd Couple. It's a middle-age coming-of-age story, if you will. It shows that it's never too late to start over, but it could be a little more difficult as you get older.
To put simply, the way I got it was, it's about someone coming into a person's life and making them feel alive again after being stagnant for so long.
Good, yeah. All right, so let's get right into it and talk about set design by Timothy R. Maccabee. Well, Everyman has not has not constructed a set yet that I have not liked. So this is no different. I thought this set was very authentic. The symbolism of it being so big and so vast kind of matched the setting. It's set in the Midwest, which is Big Sky Country. And I thought that the set fit that very, very nicely.
Absolutely. And down to the minute details. I mean, this kitchen, you had, of course, the cabinets and counter space, the fridge, but you had all these little tchotchkes on the wall. You had a phone on the wall with one of those really old long cords to go anywhere you need to with it. I mean, and this was a full working kitchen at that. Running water, all electricity. They were brewing coffee on the stage. You could smell that out in the audience.
That was pretty amazing. That was a very good touch.
It was, and not to mention the stairs, the bottom landing, and this extra room in the back, this full archway and whole other room, just to add depth and more realism to it. It was amazing.
It was, and let's not forget to mention, it rained. It completely had a storm outside, or what would have been outside of the set, and it rained on that stage, very realistically, no less. So kudos to Timothy R. Maccabee for his set design. It was really, really good.
And that'll take us to light design by Jesse Belski and sound design by Stowe Nelson. Now, lights and sound always go hand in hand and were in perfect harmony with this production. The lights themselves were stellar from morning, noon to night. You had no question as to what time of the day it was, and the changes that happened through the show, which are immense. It was just amazing.
Yeah, and that's hard to do, to tell what time of day it is, but Jesse Belski, he got it just right. And the subtlety of the lights, both interior and exterior lights. The sunrise had just the perfect kind of colors. You know, twilight had the perfect kind of dimness to it. It was just really impressive. And that takes us into sounds by Stowe Nelson. I was completely blown away by the sound design in this production. It was superb, in my opinion, and it was very cinematic. Now I know some people like to separate film and stage, but I mean this sound design and lights was very cinematic, and he gave Nelson got this really neat effect where there would be music playing on a radio on the counter or on a cell phone that was sitting on the table. And it would be very localized. The music would be very localized, but then all of a sudden it would just envelope the entire auditorium through the PA system. And I don't know how he did it yet. I plan on finding out because I really like this effect. But it was almost like that. It was a transition in a movie where you have localized sound and then all of a sudden it's just, it envelopes you. And it was a really, really neat effect.
It was. I completely agree with the sound. I mean, it was truly brilliant. And the thing is, usually with plays, lights and sound aren't too complex.
Right.
But this, it added so much more depth and realism to the production.
Yes, it did. Kudos again to Jesse Belski and Stone Elson for their light and sound design, which will take us into costumes by Sara Cubbage, who I thought did an excellent job. I thought she did a really good job with these costumes. It's a modern day piece, so it's everyday clothing, but these two characters are so different. They are very different characters with very different styles, and I think the wardrobe choices that Cubbage made for these characters was on point.
Yes, they completely, like you said, they completely matched their characters. You had Robin, this girl from Brooklyn, who's edgy and dark, and she kind of had this rocker chick look to her. She had the ripped jeans, the boots, the leather jacket, and then you had Sharon, the conservative Midwestern woman that had the short, nicely kept hair, the blouse and slacks, and it was just brilliant. Yeah,
it was spot on. These characters, even the changes they make, their wardrobe even went along with the changes these characters made, which is really Cubbage did a very good job with these costumes. And that will take us into direction by Johanna Groenhut, who I think had a very good understanding of this piece. I think she did a great job transferring this from the page to the stage. Her vision was very apparent in this, and she had a really good flow up on that stage, which made the story much easier to follow.
Yes, and I gotta say, both of the actors truly understood with depth their characters.
Yeah.
And they were both just extremely comfortable on the stage, and I think that was all helped to the direction, great direction.
Right, the guidance that they got from Johanna Groenhut. And, some people say it's very difficult to direct a cast of thousands. I also might think it's difficult to direct two people, because you only have those two people, those two actors, to get your vision out to the audience. But working with her actors, I think she did a phenomenal job with the direction on this.
Right. And speaking of actors, you have Beth Hilton as Robin and Deborah Hazlitt is Sharon. So let's start with Beth Hilton. She played this character with I feel just the right amount of edginess and mystery, especially for a Brooklyn transplant. And I think she was probably, out of the two, she was the character I liked more.
Really? Mm-hmm. Why is that?
I just find edgier characters more interesting, and the fact that she's playing a middle-aged, edgier woman just made her all the more interesting to me.
That's fair. Well, and I believe that Beth Hilton did a fantastic job with this role. She played that mystery that was required for the role. She played that edginess. But first off, when she walked on stage, I didn't buy that she was middle-aged. Now, I don't know if it was because of the wardrobe, the younger-looking wardrobe, or just that she looked younger. I just didn't buy that she was middle-aged, and I had a hard time getting into that throughout the production. And actually, even though she did have that edginess that you mentioned and that mystery, I would have liked her to have a little more edginess once I understood the character. But I mean, overall, she did a fantastic job with her performance. She was strong and had a good presence and everything. So I think she did good otherwise too. But Deborah Hazlitt, moving on to her, I believe the role of Sharon, the character of Sharon, that was more of my speed. That I think I like that character more. But like you said, you like edgier characters. I like more conservative characters. But her character also made the biggest change, the biggest transition in this piece. So I think that's one of the reasons why I really liked her. And Deborah Hazlitt really kept up with that, through all the emotions and what have you. She had a very strong presence on stage. She had a good command of the stage. She was very comfortable with her part. And she had really good comedic timing. Now, this is, it's a drama, I guess, per se. But with a little humor thrown in just to keep it interesting. And Deborah Hazlitt did a very good job with that humor. She was reading her audience, and she knew right when to hit those punchlines for her character and for her performance. So I think she did a bang-up job. She was definitely the highlight for me in this production.
I know, she definitely did. Speaking of their performances, I think they both did amazing.
Right,
and
they did.
Just as the character, the emotional roller coaster that Sharon goes through in this show, and the changes she just pulled off effortlessly and flawlessly. It was really great to watch.
It was. Overall, it was a really good production. All in all, again, it's a story of starting over, no matter how old you are, and the fact that you can start over. So I think that's what I took away from it, and it made for an enjoyable evening of theater.
Definitely. You really should go see the show if you get the chance.
Right. So The Roommates runs at Everyman Theater, which is located at 315 West Fayette Street, and it runs until November 27th, so get your tickets now. You can get your tickets by giving their box office a call at 410-752-2208, or go to their website, Everyman Theater, that's theater with an R-E, everymantheater.org. You can also check out our written review that we have, and you can check that out at backstagebaltimore.wordpress.com, and leave us a message. Why don't you give us some thumbs up on this video as well, and like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love hearing from everybody, and give us your opinion if you've seen this or if you're going to go see this. So, until next time, thank you so much for joining us here on Backstage Banter.
Business like no business I know. Everything about it is appealing. Everything the traffic will allow. Nowhere can you get that happy feeling when you are stealing that extra bow. There's no people like show people. They smile when they are low. Even with a turkey that you know of gold, you may be stranded out in the cold. Still you wouldn't trade it